fourth grade. Today we are going to be starting on our new unit, and it's all about measurement, which is a lot of fun. We are going to be reviewing area and perimeter. This is a skill that you learned in third grade, so our first two practice problems are going to be a review from our third grade understanding, and then we're going to get more into our fourth grade understanding. So we remember from third grade that area is length times width. An area is the measurement of the inside of a shape. Now moving on to perimeter. Perimeter is different from area. It's still measuring a shape, but instead of measuring the inside of the shape, perimeter measures the outside of the shape. And the way that we find this measurement is we add up all of the sides. So we add up the perimeter of the shape, or the outside of the shape. I'm going to link a video down below about area and perimeter. It's a song that I really love and I think it's really funny. So this is the outside of the shape that we're measuring. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to our first practice problem. Again, this is a review, so we're just going to find the perimeter and area of both of these shapes. I have 6 inches and 2 inches, and I have to multiply them because it's length times width. So I have 6 times 2, which is 12. And remember, area is measured in square units, and so I can represent that with a 2 like this, so it's inches squared. That's an exponent. That's how I represent square units. Or you can write square inches. Next, we're going to move on to perimeter. The thing with perimeter is we have to add up all the sides, but what the person who created this gave me is only 2 of the sides. So I have to think back to my geometry unit back in third grade, where I know that these symbols mean that the other side is parallel, which means it's the same length. So this one side where it says 6 inches, the side across from it's going to be 6 inches, and the other side's going to be 2. So I add up all my sides. I have 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 2. I know 6 plus 6 is 12, and 2 plus 2 is 4, and 12 plus 4 is 16 inches. And so that's the perimeter of that shape. So I want you to now pause, and I want you to complete number 2 on your own as independent practice. When you're done, go ahead and unpause the video, and we will talk about the area of irregular shapes. Now, 3 through 6 is going to require that we find the area of an irregular shape. This is a brand new 4th grade skill, but we're going to take our understanding from 3rd grade and apply it to this new 4th grade skill. So if you look at number 3, you can see that I have all of these different measurements, and these measurements can be kind of overwhelming. Whenever a problem is overwhelming, what we normally like to do in class is chunk it or make it into smaller pieces, decompose it or compose it. For instance, we are going to be looking for rectangles or squares that we can make. How can we cut the shape to make it a smaller shape for us to measure? You can see here that I'm cutting the shape and making a rectangle. I'm highlighting the rectangle by drawing it, and I have one rectangle here, and then you're going to see that I'm highlighting my second rectangle. So I just cut them into 2 rectangles. We're going to find area the same way we did in 3rd grade, by multiplying length times width. So for my first rectangle, length times width is 3 times 9. I can see I have 3 miles times 9 miles, and I know that 3 times 9 is 27. That's a known fact. But it's area, so I have to remember I'm using square units. For my second rectangle, I see that I have an 8 and I have a 6. That's what my length and width is. And I know that 8 times 6 is 48 square units. I'm not done yet though. Because I split this shape up at the beginning, I now have to combine my shape back together because I'm finding the area or the inside measurement of the whole entire irregular shape. So I have to take that 27 and 48 and combine them back together with addition. And I know 27 plus 48 is 75 miles squared. Let's work with number 4 together. Again, I'm going to try to make my shape into smaller shapes that are easier to find the area of. So I'm going to basically cut my shape into different parts, different rectangular or square pieces. So you can see that I'm highlighting one of the rectangles. I have 6 times 3. I can tell that that's the length times width. I'm highlighting my second rectangle, or the second area of the shape that I have left, and in this box I'm going to have 5 times 4. I can see my length times width. You can see that I have other measurements like 1 and 7 left over, but they're highlighted in that 4 and 5 and 6 and 3. So when I go back and multiply, I have 6 times 3, which is a known fact of 18, and I have 4 times 5, which is 20. I'm not done yet though, because I have to add them together. Remember how I cut my shape up? I have to now put it back together, and I know 18 plus 20 is 38. So the area of this shape is 38 square inches, or 38 inches squared. Go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to try to solve number 5 on your own, and when you're done, go ahead and unpause the video, and I'm going to go over it with you to see if we have the hang of it. Remember, Miss Nealy never expects you to fully understand how to do a new math skill the first time we try it. If you understand it, that's great, but if not, just know that we're going to be practicing this skill over the next few weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and start by cutting this irregular shape into shapes that I'm familiar with, like squares and rectangles. So you may have cut your shape differently. Just as long as we get the same area, that's fine. I chose to cut off this little square at the end. So I have 3 times 3 is 9. That's the area of that little square right there. And then this was my second rectangle. So I'm going to highlight this as my second rectangle. I'm not going to use this 10 that I highlight down on the bottom, because I cut that 10 into different parts. I cut that 10 into 7 and 3. So I used 3 times 3, which was 9. So instead of using that 10, I'm going to multiply 7 times 9. I know that 7 times 9 is 63, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down, but I'm not done yet. I need to remember that I have to add the two numbers together, my two products, because those are two different areas and I'm of different rectangles. I decompose the rectangle and I need to put it back together, this irregular shape. So when I add them together, I get 63 plus 9, and I know that 63 plus 9 is 72. So the area of this irregular shape is 72 yards squared, or squared yards. Alright, so now you are going to be required to do number 6 on your own. This is independent practice. I believe in you. I just want you to attempt this. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. I hope you guys have a great day.